my heart dropped, fell into my stomach. And I realized like I'm either gonna do college or I'm gonna like focus on money. Like I need to figure out what I want. Honestly, having a VA is like heroin. I'll never go back. I'll literally never go back, and I'm literally addicted. If I lost my VAs right now, I'd have withdrawals for sure. You know what I mean? Because the fact of the matter is, like, they do everything in my business that I'm not required for. Once you start hiring people and you have a whole bunch more free time, you start looking at it from like a 30,000-foot view, looking down at your business. Because now you have people in different places doing all these different functions, and you're able to start adding more to your business and coming up with different ideas for marketing and stuff like that. So getting VAs in my business, literally, like I can't even say 10x, it's like 20x, 50x my business, 100%.
Hello guys, welcome back to the Intelix Podcast, episode 7. Today I have the pleasure to introduce you guys to Joseph.
What's up, what's up? Appreciate you. Thank you for having me on, bro.
No, thank you, man, thank you. Well, today we are in New York City, and yeah, before we start, can you introduce yourself to the audience?
Yeah, I'm Joseph Henry. I run a virtual assistant agency. I also help people scale up their businesses using ads and CRM automations, and been doing this for about 2 years now.
Perfect. So are you a New York native, or were you raised in the city?
Yeah, so I'm actually born and raised in the Bronx. I moved over to Brooklyn about 5 years ago and have been there and just kind of building my business, working from home. But yeah, originally from the Bronx.
Okay, and what was your journey like? Did you start this business right out of high school, or like I know you were a real estate agent, you also were a waitress, you did everything, anything.
Yeah.
So can you tell me more about your journey?
Yeah, so I was actually a waiter for like 5 years on and off while I was in college. I did finish college. I went to John Jay College in the city, and I majored in forensic accounting. And while I was doing that, I would also try to build other businesses. So I had like an Instagram growth agency. I did network marketing. I was doing like cold calling for this like MCA business and trying to sell high interest loans. I did pretty much like everything under the sun. And then I was a real estate agent for 4 years. And that was probably the most consistent thing I did in terms of like being an independent contractor, kind of like technically owning my own business. And it went kind of good. You know, I built up a team of 30 agents at one point. I switched over to Compass, which is like the #1 brokerage in the United States for sales volume. I'm still technically with them, and condensed my team down to 7 people. And we did fairly decent, and then, you know, we were doing like $270,000 in GCI in the last year that I did real estate. And then I kind of just decided that I wanted to pivot into online marketing because I knew there was like a lot more money in it, and people were doing it like, you know, you see all the ads all the time of people doing really well. So I had virtual assistants already in my business.
For the real estate?
Exactly. And I would have them do like cold calling and admin tasks, you know, leases and stuff like that. And people would always ask me like, hey, Joseph, how'd you find those virtual assistants? Like, how are you paying them what you pay them? And I kind of realized there was something there, right? And I built a course that showed how to get your own virtual assistants. And then it kind of turned into this and what I'm doing now, helping people find virtual assistants and then helping them with their businesses. And,
awesome. Yeah. And for you, how important do you think was your career as a real estate agent in you becoming the person that you are right now? Do you think like it was, you know, just being out in the field 24/7, looking for deals, you know, networking with people? How important was that in becoming the person that you're right now?
Being a real estate agent?
Yeah.
So being a real estate agent, at one point I was like in the office 9 to 5 every single day. And my girlfriend actually worked in one of the offices that I was doing real estate out of. So I had to drive her to the office, and that kind of got me in the habit of treating businesses like a 9 to 5, which I think is like the easiest way to build success. Most people are like, oh, I work when I want to because I have a business. But if you treat it that way, you treat it like a hobby, it's going to pay you like a hobby. So I started going in 9 to 5 every single day because of that. And even after my girlfriend stopped working at the office, or when I stopped working with her, I still continued to do that, waking up early, hitting the gym in the morning, and then getting to my desk by 9, which I guess is like common sense. It's like you got to do at least 8 hours a day if you want to build a business. But getting in the habit of that and like chasing deals and talking to a lot of people and running around a lot, and like I feel like that kind of built the foundation for my entrepreneurship, you know what I mean?
Yeah.
And being in college, like in high school, I was not doing like any assignments. I was doing what I had to do to pass and get like decent grades. And then when I went to college, it was a whole different story. I actually got kicked out of college.
Oh, really?
Yeah, I got kicked out of college for bad grades because I was like chasing money And I didn't realize, like, I feel like I didn't have the work ethic to get
Yeah.
like work done and stuff. So I had like a 1.3 GPA, something like that.
Oh wow.
And I got I got some sort of like basically like a warning in the mail.
Yeah.
It's like, yo, if you don't get your grades up, you might be under, I was under probation or something. I didn't know what that meant. And then after the next semester, I did that again because I was like selling sneakers. I got my first job at H&M. I had a girlfriend and stuff, so I wasn't focusing on college. And then I got another letter saying, yeah, you've been kicked out basically. Like, you can come back, but you need to get your grades up and you need to go somewhere else. My heart dropped, fell into my stomach. And I realized, like, I'm either going to do college or I'm going to, like, focus on money. Like, I need to figure out what I want. I realized, like, especially because my parents, like,
No.
I need to finish college. I need to, if in the case I try to build a business and it doesn't work out, I don't want people to come and tell me, like, it's because you didn't go to college. You know what I mean? I wanted to be able to finish college and know that that's not the reason. If I'm ever down bad, although I believed in myself, if I'm ever down bad, I don't want it to be because, oh, Joseph, you didn't go to college. So I couldn't even get into BMCC, Brooklyn, Borough of Manhattan Community
Wow.
College. I couldn't even get in with how bad my grades were. I think it needed to be above 1.5 or something like that. So I went to BCC, Bronx Community College, got my grades up for one semester, went to BMCC, got my grades up even more and like did what I had to. I got my associates. Then I was able to go back to John Jay and finish there. But it took me 5.5 years to get a 4-year degree. But that I feel like built the foundation for me being able to like sit down at a desk and get work done. You ever heard of assiduity?
No, I haven't.
The fake definition is like you need to sit on your ass and do it. And I realized working in college, like doing what I had to do at John Jay and actually trying to get good grades, built the foundation for like me being able to like actually sit at a desk and just do the work. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
And I feel like a lot of business owners, like they don't realize it's
Exactly.
just a matter of sitting down and doing the work.
Just putting your head down and something that when you were just saying just caught my attention and I was like, you got it on the dot.
Yeah.
It's basically about most entrepreneurs they see online on Instagram, they're like, oh, I work 2 hours a day, 3
Yeah.
hours a day.
Yeah.
Like you're not building a business like that.
No.
Yeah, you have to work like from 8 a.m. to 8 p.m. And I think for me it was probably like the hardest thing to do, and for most entrepreneurs is having that accountability of waking up every single day
100%.
like a timing, having like you said, like a routine, from 9 to 5, like when you were being a real estate agent,
Right.
and because that pushes you to be in the office and
Exactly.
working there, because sometimes it's hard, like if you are your own, like your own boss,
Right.
one day you go to sleep at 12 p.m., 12 a.m., you're like, I can wake up at 10 a.m.
Right.
Yeah.
Because there's no manager, there's no boss.
Yeah.
The hardest thing in business I've found is managing yourself. When you have a job, it's like, no matter what, you got it. Like for this podcast, like on a Saturday, usually I'm waking up at like 9:30. It's like I had to get up. And my girlfriend's like, there's no way you're getting there at 8 because on weekends I sleep in a little bit. I'm like, well, I have to. Like, they got to leave at like 11. Same thing with a job. It's like you have to be somewhere at a specific time. You're going to do it. Otherwise you get fired. You don't make money, you can't pay rent. But when you're when you have a business, especially when you close a couple of deals, it's easy to just be like, I'm going to sleep in a bit. I'm going to chill out. I can relax a bit. But that's the exact mentality that, that's the difference between a 10K a month entrepreneur and like a 100K a month entrepreneur.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? Not being able to like have the discipline to do things the same way every single day.
Yeah,
You know?
and you work more. I think as an entrepreneur, instead of working less, you might work more. Maybe if you're like 10 years into the business, you can delegate your work with VAs,
Exactly.
by the way.
With VAs, yeah.
But yeah, it takes time, it takes time. And now can you tell me more about, your company itself, about the virtual assistants, why the Philippines, the
Yeah,
benefits,
yeah.
go all in depth, yeah.
Yeah, so in the Philippines, like they learn English from a very young age, and they have phenomenal English compared to a lot of other countries. So it's extremely popularized out there too. Like everyone and their mother's becoming a virtual assistant. So if you put an application online, you're getting dozens and dozens of applications. So it's easy to find virtual assistants out there. Finding someone good is not the easy part. That's why you come to us. But the Philippines, you get a lot of applications, great English, great work ethic. They're super loyal. The amount that you're paying them is enough to sustain, their expenses and things like that. So that's why I chose the Philippines. as far as my virtual assistant agency, how we kind of function is we have kind of two different ways that we do it. We'll either give you a course and you can learn how to do it yourself, or if you don't have the time to do that and you kind of want to like, I compare it to like Uber Eats or cooking yourself.
Yeah.
You know, and what I say on my sales calls is, if you're in a rush, right, and you have to eat food, obviously we all have to eat food, you're either going to cook or you're going to order Uber Eats. You order from Uber Eats, it's basically like you're ordering from professionals, people that cook all the time, all day long. So they cook for you, they deliver it to you, you don't have to worry about any of it. You can work while it's coming to you, you can watch TV while it's coming to you, but if you cook, it's going to take you a lot of time and you might not be as good. So we are the Uber Eats, okay? So if you want to find really good talent, you want to find someone who's going to work with you, be loyal, actually has the skill sets, actually has experience, you work with Uber Eats. We find you somebody within 7 business days, okay? They'll be extremely talented, they'll have the skills that you need, they'll be, below $10 an hour, and they'll most likely stay with you for years, you know what I mean? But some business owners, I can understand, because I was in the same place, can't afford to pay somebody to do that for them. They can't afford the Uber Eats, so they cook themselves. You know what I mean? This is what I say in sales calls. So that's kind of what we do. It's either you're going to get the course, do it yourself, or you're going to have us do it, which is kind of similar to what you're doing. You know, you go and find them virtual assistants. So yeah, the VA agency, we've been operating for a while, and we also added on a whole bunch of other stuff now. We realized that getting a virtual assistant doesn't solve all the business owners' problems. They still need a constant lead flow. They still need systems and automations. The biggest issue that I find when people get virtual assistants, and what people come back to me and say, is I have them doing some of my admin work, but I really want to like give them more hours and stuff, and I want to personally be more productive. What should I give them? Well, hey, listen, how many leads are you getting a day? You know, how many leads are you getting a day? How many leads are you talking to a day? Like, what are your automations for that? Oh, I'm just kind of getting, word of mouth and stuff. Well, word of mouth is not predictable and scalable.
Yeah.
So we need to get you a lead acquisition system, one that works, and one that's consistent, and you could, predict how it operates. On top of that, you need automations. Whenever a lead comes in, you need automations to talk to those leads to kind of start up the conversation. Then you have the virtual assistant have conversations with people that become engaged, or talk to the people that haven't engaged yet and try to call them. So you have the lead acquisition system that's bringing you leads every single day. You have the automations that are kind of engaging them and getting them to talk to you. And then you have the virtual assistant going in there and calling them and turning them into real appointments, real booked calls. So those 3 things we call the trifecta system. And it makes a lot of sense because every single business owner pretty much needs leads, even if it's a freaking restaurant. You need leads, you need people coming in the door. So having those 3 things basically ensures that you have a functioning business that's going to grow. Because as far as the lead acquisition system, you put more money in, you put more people in. The automations, they're constantly running. You don't have to start all those conversations yourself or have a VA spending hours and hours talking to those people to engage them. And then the VA is able to just pick it up where they start talking and then turn it into an appointment. The automations already did half the work. You know what I'm saying? So that's kind of how we structure it now. Whenever people need a VA, we get them a VA and then we say, hey, do you also need more leads? Do you also need more automations and systems? Everybody's talking about AI now.
Yeah, everybody.
Everybody's talking about AI now. So whenever people want to get a VA with me, a question they usually ask is, well, why don't I just get an AI bot to do this? You know what I mean? An AI bot's not going to call somebody and have a conversation. It exists, but if you test them out, go and look up using calling automation, AI, using calling AI. Look at the reviews of people using it. There's like delays, it doesn't sound real, it doesn't sound authentic. People are happy to talk to AI because they know it's AI. They're not gonna buy from AI. They're just like, oh wow, I'm talking to AI. But that's not gonna turn into a sale. You know what I mean? They've done like a whole bunch of videos on this and it doesn't seem to be working. You need a real person.
Yeah.
Yeah,
and like one thing specific that I always tell everybody, like AI is not gonna replace virtual assistants.
Exactly.
A virtual assistant that knows how to use AI is gonna replace a normal virtual assistant.
Exactly.
And going with you because this guy, Joseph is the master of ads. So can you maybe talk a bit about how many leads you get into your business through your ads and how you have your VA cold call those not cold call, but like warm code those specific leads in your system and how that's kind of like stream flows everything when it comes to getting leads, because that's something that people that want to hire VAs, they have the VA but they don't know what task to give them. They are like, I just have the VA, like doing their clocking in hours or like not doing something productive, but you have an entire system so that the virtual assistant is always busy. So
Yeah, yeah. So by the way, we do have a trifecta ebook. We call
Yeah.
it. It's $5. If you do want to get that, it kind of breaks down how you can get more leads, have simpler systems, and have like a better business overall. But just to break down what you're saying there, we run ads. We usually get. We do mostly TikTok ads because so far that's been like the cheapest. Because between Facebook and TikTok, TikTok's kind of like Facebook ads in 2016, where it's like inexpensive. So we usually get like 30 leads a day. We could do more, we could push more, but that's good for what we're doing right now. And once we start to hire more people, we'll ramp it up. But the way that we set it up is we have Go High Level. And in Go High Level, we have the automation sending out and starting those conversations saying, hey, what did you need a virtual assistant for? Or hey, did you get the trifecta course or did you get the VA course? Kind of just starting up, getting them to say like yes or getting them to confirm their email. Having them answer at least once is the most important. No matter what the question is, have them answer at least once and they're more open to continuing to talk to you, especially if they're saying yes in the beginning of the conversation. Once they start to talk to you, the VA starts to text back, okay? So the VA will text back and ideally will call them as soon as possible. I tell my VAs right when a lead comes in, you call them within 5 minutes of them coming in. Because if you're able to catch them right when they just saw the ad, they're more likely to get on a call with you, right? So text them, the automations and stuff. If they don't answer, the automations will keep going until they finally reply. The VA calls them, okay, and the ideal conversation, the way it would typically go is, hey, I saw that you wanted our insert the lead magnet, whatever your lead magnet is, like ebook or a course or whatever it is. What did you want that for? Like, what are you looking to do with this for your business or for your home or for your whatever it is that, like, for instance, if you're a contractor and you're helping people renovate their kitchens, you'd say, what were you looking to renovate your kitchen for? Or how are you looking to renovate your kitchen, right? Then once we start that conversation, you got to try not to be salesy. I tell all my VAs, try not to be salesy. You shouldn't be like, hey, how are you doing? No, bloop, they're going to hang up on you. You got to be like, hey, what's going on? Casual, kind of like straightforward. What were you looking to get a VA for in your business? Like, what's the main thing that's, I was looking to have them do admin tasks or have them answer my leads, do follow-ups. Okay, cool. Yeah, so I mean, what we do is we can go out there and find you a VA. Is that something you're looking to do? We can help you out. Even if you don't get a VA with us, we'll at least give you some free advice. Does that sound like something you'd want to do? You'll chat with Joseph 10 minutes. Always make the call or appointment sound really fast. Quick 10 minutes, we'll go over it really quick. They'll say yes, my VA books the appointment. I get on a call with them and I sell them, right? So that's kind of how it goes. That's the whole structure. And 30 leads a day, the automations go, the VAs chat with them, turn them into an appointment. They get on my calendar, and that's kind of how the whole flow works.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And one thing that is interesting is that your VAs are calling them.
Right.
So they are like, okay, actually works. And if
Yeah,
they
yeah.
go to your call,
Exactly.
it's like, okay,
Yeah,
so
yeah.
like, you're here. So that means that the virtual assistants are working. And
I tell them that all the time.
Yeah.
It's like, if you need ads and you need VAs, you literally saw my ads and you literally spoke to my VA. Sometimes they'll be like, wait, that was a VA? That was someone in the Philippines? Yes.
Yeah.
Wow, they sounded really good. Exactly.
Yeah.
And that always, starts with a conversation of like, how can I get one?
Yeah, and what type of VAs do you provide for your clients?
Yeah, so I mean, all different types. I tend to stay away from like when people want like multiple skills stacked.
Yeah.
Because then there's a lot of responsibility on me. So I usually say hire for soft skills. Soft skills being like really good communication skills, critical thinking. They have what's called agency, meaning they could figure things out for themselves. They can go and do research. They're not going to be like, hey, what do I do next? Hey, what do I do next? What do I do next? How do I do this? How do I click this? How do I find this? So find people that have soft skills, and you could build on top of that. That's also how you find cheaper VAs. Instead of finding somebody who's like really good at like 3 tasks, who's going to cost you $15 an hour, you find someone who has really good soft skills. And then since they have really good soft skills, it means they're a quick learner and stuff. You build on top of that. Like, for instance, I'll give you an idea here and an example. Christine, one of my virtual assistants who I first started with, she did cold calling for me. She set appointments for me in my real estate business. Now, she's my hiring manager. She's my appointment setter. She does all the conversations with clients once they're in and there's any issues with the VAs or there's any questions with the VAs. So she started off just doing cold calling. But she had really good soft skills, great communication skills, critical thinking skills. And I spent a lot of time with her, just training her. And now she's a freaking beast. Franco, who is my operations manager, he had a lot of skills. That's why I pay him a little bit more now. But I've helped him build a whole bunch of different skills in like CRMs and communication in terms of, hiring and stuff like that. If Christine needs to take a day off, he'll take over and could do the hiring as well and could do the conversations. And then I have Martha, who's a phenomenal VA, helps with the media buying, so helps with our ads, helps with all the funnel building and my clients' funnel building, and also does all the automations for my business and will help other businesses build their automations. And I taught her everything with Go High Level. Literally everything.
From zero.
Yeah,
Wow.
literally, not from, I mean, she had a lot of skills, don't get me wrong.
Yeah.
She had like other businesses that she worked for, but I taught her specifically the CRM that we
Yeah.
use, and I taught her specifically how we do media buying. It's okay to hire someone who has like some like, ad skills and like CRM skills and stuff like that, but they are just like kind of basic.
Yeah.
And then you build on top of that, and then they're able to just kill for you. I like to do it that way, and that way they could pivot because they're not attached to any particular skill set. You know what I mean?
No, that's pretty interesting. And when I did start my business, basically the head recruiter of Intellect Staffing, I started as a normal admin assistant,
Right.
and he was the first hire that I did in my company. And then after kind of like, just because at first we didn't even know we were gonna go only on staffing and recruitment, but as things went up, he basically realized he was good at sourcing candidates, doing interviews, and he became a recruiter. And he had no prior experience. He had like prior experience in admin work and a bit of marketing, but he became a recruiter, and I think that's the best way, because they learn new skill sets, and yeah, like I think that you had it on the point. Like sometimes finding someone that can grow on their skills, and they will be more loyal to you as well. And if something goes bad, when they leave your business, they go with those skills as well, and they can probably have another job that is on what they're learning.
Right.
Yeah.
So the mastermind that Evan and I went to actually, they said something interesting. They said, don't hire A-level talent. Because the issue with A-level talent is you're paying them a lot more upfront, and there's the risk of them leaving because they feel like, I want to get 10K more. I want to get, they want to increase their salary, and they'll come back to you and ask for raises and stuff like that. And then on top of that, because they're an A-level player, it'll be really hard to replace them. Okay, it'll be really, if they leave, they could destroy parts of your business. You get what I'm saying?
Yeah.
Like you could be left with like a big gap in your business. They said instead have A-level SOPs, A-level procedures, but hire B-level players that you can train with those A-level SOPs. I thought that was like one of the most valuable things I heard in that mastermind. And it makes a lot of sense because A-level players, sometimes they have ego. Sometimes you tell them to do stuff and they're like, you could tell they're like giving you pushback. Well, why don't you do it this way? And then they're trying to change things, which could be good. You can get a lot of ideas in your business by having that. But you don't always want that. Sometimes you just want someone to do the damn thing and just like help you with the exact way that you want to be helped. You know what I mean?
Yeah, and like, well, he paid 50,000 for this. We got it here for free in the Intellects podcast.
Right.
So that's pretty good, and it is too. Everything is about setting those, like you said, like those procedures that anyone can do it. Because if you have those, SOPs in place and it's basically automated, then everybody can do it. And if you have a virtual assistant, you pay them what, $4 an hour, $5 hours, $6 an hour, and they will do it for you. And yeah, and like for you in that regard, like how has virtual assistants changed your life?
In every way, literally in every way possible. Honestly, having a VA is like heroin. I'll never go back. I'll literally never go back, and I'm literally addicted. If I lost my VAs right now, I'd have withdrawals for sure. You know what I mean? Because fact of the matter is, like, they do everything in my business that I'm not required for. Like, I'm kind of right now required for the sales calls. I'm required for like the marketing. I'm the face of the business. Everything else is done by them. So if they left my business, like all of them, went like this, like let's say Thanos came and just went like this, and they're all gone, I would have, my business will fall apart. So it just became one of those things where once you get a taste of what it's like to have somebody doing something for you and freeing up your time so you could focus on what actually moves the business forward, it's an absolute game changer. Because now you're able to think way bigger. You get what I'm saying? You're able to think, but when you're in your business, you're just starting and it's only you, you're thinking here, right? You're thinking way down here. Once you start hiring people and you have a whole bunch more free time, you start looking at it from like a 30,000 foot view, looking down at your business. because now you have people in different places doing all these different functions. And you're able to figure out like, okay, it's kind of like chess, you know what I mean? You're thinking like, okay, I gotta put this piece here and put this piece there. And you're able to start adding more to your business and coming up with different ideas for marketing and stuff like that. So getting VAs in my business, literally, like I can't even say 10x, it's like 20x, 50x my business, 100%. Because this is the thing, right? When you're hiring a VA, people are worried about having payroll. But you have to hire somebody. You can't keep doing it. Like watch Alex Hormozy's stuff about hiring. Like he basically says you're stupid if you don't hire. If you want to hold it all for yourself, you're being stupid. You have to hire somebody eventually. The issue is when you're a beginner and you're just starting out in business, you can't afford to hire somebody locally. $20 an hour. You know what I mean?
Impossible, yeah.
And then if you hire somebody $20 an hour, they freaking hate you anyways. They're like, I want a 100K salary. You know what I mean? Because they're entitled and they went to college and all this stuff. So you hire overseas though, let's say $5, $6 an hour for your first VA. You're able to afford them. Now you also free up your time. Now you're building more revenue. Now you can afford more people locally. You get what I'm saying? So people think of it all backwards. Like, oh, I guess I have to hire somebody, $20 an hour. And then, oh man, but I'm not really going to have much excess money for marketing. No, hire somebody way cheaper. Put the money into the marketing, grow the business like that. Then you can eventually hire people locally if you want. Or you could just hire a bunch of VAs. So you have to hire somebody. What's it going to be? It's not a matter of what. It's not a matter of if. It's a matter of when. Right? You have to hire somebody. So when will you hire somebody? You're going to wait a year when you can finally afford somebody locally? Or you're going to, in the first month, start hiring people?
Yeah, like, and apart from that, you're also like changing the lives of this, overseas workers,
100%.
because $4 an hour for them, like they are making a livable wage, they can afford rent, they can take care of their families. The same thing in Latin America as well, where we source, by paying them like 7 to 8 or 10.
Right.
Like, like for example in Argentina, just to give you a quick example, like the average salary over there is around $300 USD per month.
Yeah, wow.
So if someone is making 700, 800 is life changing for them, and
Right.
you probably know it with the Philippines, no?
100%, same thing, yeah. You're changing their lives. Like, I tell people all the time, like my VAs, one of my VAs has a cafe that he owns.
Yeah.
He has 2 cafes, and then he has like another business too, and he's able to maintain that and be a virtual assistant. And another VA of mine has a car out there, which is like, it's a very big deal to get a car out there. She has a car, she has like a big house, she has like a second car, like a 3-wheeled car as well, and she's doing well. So it's like, when you're paying these VAs what you would, obviously would be significantly lower than minimum wage here, it's significantly higher than their minimum wage there. Same thing with Argentina. So you are changing their lives as well as changing yours. So it's literally a win-win.
Yeah, exactly. And like, for example, just to give like a quick math, if you're making like 10K per month, and let's say you're working 160 hours per month, which is like the normal, your hourly rate is around 62. So let's say, I can delegate a task like replying to emails, doing some data entry, social media posting, like admin work. If I can delegate that for 4 to 5, like how much is worth your hour, and delegating that to 4 and 5, like is worth it.
100%. Yeah. If you said if you're making 10K, it's $62.50
Yeah.
per hour that you're technically making. If
Exactly.
you're working 40 hours a week.
Exactly.
So if you don't delegate tasks like email and like media buying and like doing follow-ups and stuff like that, setting appointments, and that's something you could pay $5 an hour for, $10 an hour for, you're basically telling yourself, my time is worth $5 an hour, if you're not willing to delegate that, right? Which is crazy. So I tell people that too in my sales calls. I'm like, listen, if you can pay somebody $5 to do this, like, why would you do it? Is your time worth $5? Like, is that how low your time clock is, I guess you'd say? Like, you need to be delegating these tasks. It's not an option anymore. Like, stuff like this is not an option. Especially because you'll notice, like, way less people are going for jobs now. Yeah. Like, way less people are doing, like, traditional jobs, traditional roles. More people are building businesses. And for some reason, like, with all the people that are coming into the market becoming business owners, it's surprising to see how many people don't have that mindset. Like, I had one guy the other day. I'm not going to say too much on this because he could be watching this, but I had another guy the other day. He said, we basically have our VAs use screen monitoring platforms, because if you had somebody working in an office, they got to clock in, clock out. So same thing goes if they're working remote. You need a way for them to clock in and clock out, and you need to monitor their screen. I've noticed that when people use the screen monitoring platforms, like I say, 9.9 times out of 10, it's a great, relationship. It's phenomenal. 10 times out of 10, when they don't use screen monitoring platforms, every single time they come back to me and say, the VA is not performing. They're not doing what they said they would do. They said they worked 30 hours, but I think they worked 20. Hey, are you using that screen monitoring platform that I told you about? No, I didn't want to invade their privacy. They are working for you. You need to track what they are doing. They need to clock in and clock out. You need to see what they're doing on a day-to-day basis. They're not in an office with you where you can look over their shoulder. You need to see what they're doing. Because for all you know, they could be working 1 hour a day and charging you for 8. They could be watching Netflix while they're working for you. You don't know. You need to track these things. So back to my original point. If I had this one guy and he got a VA with us, and I'm like, all right, so we got to set up your screen monitoring platform. It's $7, $7 a month, $7 a month. So we're talking about like a couple dimes per day. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
And he's like, oh man, I have so many softwares. I have like a whole bunch of things. I don't think that I could fit that into my budget right now. Dude, $7. If the VA is $7 and they're working for you 80 hours a month, hire them for 79. 79 hours. Deduct 1 hour and pay for the freaking screen monitoring platform. You need to see what they're doing. It's not an option. You know what I mean? It's not like I tell people now, it's not like a choice. You need to do this.
No, and I completely agree with you on that point, because like at the beginning of the business itself, like I will not use any like screen monitoring or like timesheet kind of like software.
Right.
And people use clocking,
Right.
They will use clocking hours. So if you do have a virtual assistant or a remote professional overseas, having some way that you can monitor, even if they are in the United States, if they are remote, you have to find like a way to monitor their hours, because, people working out remote, like some of them do take advantage of like the remote space
100%.
and they don't actually do their work.
If it's up to them, not everybody, but if it's up to a lot of VAs, they'll have 5 jobs at once.
Yeah.
And you won't even know that they're working for 2 other people, 3 other people, 4 other people at the same time that they're doing your work. So I'll tell you a story, basically. Like, back when I wasn't using screen monitoring platforms, I had this one VA. Not only would she be, she would have like surgery randomly. She had car accidents. Apparently her roommate committed suicide. This is all within like a 3-month time frame, right? She had every excuse in the book she had. So that was a big issue. On top of that, I wasn't monitoring her screen, so every once in a while she would send me she would take a picture of her screen with her phone to show me something, like show me an email or something like that. And I would just see Netflix on the side. I would just see Netflix. You know what I mean? And she had super low performance. I would constantly have to check in with her on deadlines and push deadlines back. So it's like, if you're not tracking their screen, a lot of VAs, just employees in general, man, I would have done this. Me working here in New York, I would probably do this myself. I would try to get away with what I can get away with. Like, I'm sure you can remember working jobs where you want to pull your phone out, you want to text and stuff. Whatever you can get away with, you'll try to. So VAs are no different. They're still just regular people that want to do other stuff too while they work. They don't want to just sit there and just work. So you got to track them. Otherwise, they're going to be watching Netflix, and eventually, over time, they like start to dwindle in performance. They start to kind of push the envelope a bit. They're working 20, but they say to you 30.
Yeah.
Oh, I got away with that. Then they say 40, even though they worked 20.
They say more.
Oh, I did a little overtime. I did 50 this week. Now you're paying them for 50, and they did. So they're going to slowly get worse and worse, and then eventually you have, oh, my roommate hung themselves. I got into this crazy car accident. I have this emergency surgery I need to do. I just chucked my dog out of a window, and I need to go take care of that. It's all the excuses in the book. So you have to monitor them and like make sure you have to manage. Don't hire until you're ready to manage. But people say to me, so Joseph, this one guy said to me, he said, so I'm going to literally watch their screen all day? I said, yeah, you know what? I don't think that you're ready for a VA. I said, I think you're probably not ready for this. That was such an arrogant comment to think that I'm telling you to sit there watching your VA. What's the point of hiring a VA if I'm going to say go watch them all day? No, obviously you could check once a week. Okay, you could literally check on a Friday before you pay them. check the whole week, see their activity levels for the week, see what they were doing throughout the week, make sure everything looks good, and then you pay them. You know what I'm saying? I'm not saying sit there and watch them, but what do you think a manager does? A manager doesn't follow employees around and walk with them. What are you doing now? What are you doing now? What are you doing now? No. They check every once in a while. Hey, how's that looking? We're coming up on that deadline. How does that look? Manage doesn't mean you got to micromanage. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
And that's the part of being a good boss too. You have to
No.
have some sort of flexibility, of course, and you got to let them kind of do things on their own. But there needs to be like a sense of accountability. There needs to be some sort of like boundaries.
No, no, completely agree. Like, if you're a company and probably you already have like a system in place, then perhaps screen monitoring is not a requirement. If you already have a system in place and have 10 employees
Right.
and you have like a manager that manages the other ones, but if it's your first time hiring a BA or it's your second, third BA, or you have to have like a system in place or something in particular to be able to manage, because at the end of the day, they are an employee of yours. Not because they're overseas, it doesn't mean that it's not the same as hiring an employee.
Right.
So you have to make sure you have the systems in place, because if you don't, they will not perform. You want them to be proactive, but if you don't show them how to be proactive, how can they be?
Right, 100%.
So yeah.
You have to be clear too, like when you're hiring your first VA, like in terms of being proactive. I have people that come to me sometimes and they're like, yeah, I want a VA to come in and like do my videos and like run my ads and handle my social media and then like do all the work and then do this and do that. And, okay, so you basically want them to run your entire business. You want them to build your business basically. Why don't you just give them the business and they'll run it for you? They'll make all the money and you'll be the employee. People don't realize like hiring an employee, hiring a VA doesn't mean you're hiring like a business partner. It's not like that. They still need to follow procedures and SOPs. I get people sometimes that they're like, yeah, I want someone to build up my YouTube and like make the content for me. I'm like, okay, cool. Are you doing that now? Like, are you kind of setting up really good videos? Do they get like solid views and stuff? No, I've never done it before. Okay, so how are you going to train them? You know what I mean? Like, it needs to be stuff that you can train them on. You know what I mean? Especially in the beginning. Later on, you'll have like departments for that and like HR and like people will train and stuff. But in the very beginning, you can't really, to some degree you can. And it really depends on the price point. If you're paying like the lower end amount, you can't just hire somebody that's going to build everything in your business and do all the stuff for you. You have to train them on stuff you're already doing and then improve it over time. That's how I see to work the best.
And for the clients that you have placed virtual assistants, is there any specific like story that you like, or like one specific kind of like scenario where you place a BA and that BA went and kind of like took not took their business, it was kind of like a big success for the client themselves.
Yeah, I had one client of mine that he also has an agency, and the virtual assistant, they just started off with simply like doing admin work.
Yeah.
Now they do appointment setting. They also do managing. They do graphic design. They do, apparently they're also doing video edits that are similar to mine. And my video editors are freelance, so they have multiple clients, and they've been doing this for a long time. So that VA is also doing video editing for them, and they want to. That VA wants to do everything in their business. So that was a massive success, and he tells me all the time, like, I'm super thankful you found me her, and she's doing great work. But I've had, most of the VAs that I place for people, they do really great work, as long as it's like a good business owner.
Yeah.
Whenever it doesn't work out, and I have to replace the VA, and then like something happens again with that new VA, and I have to replace the VA, now we have to look at, okay, what is the business owner doing? Like, what's the issue with the business owner? It's kind of like having a friend that's always jumping in between relationships, but switching. It's like, okay, she was crazy. That one was crazy. This girl was freaking crazy. All these different girls are crazy. Now it's like, okay, you keep jumping into relationships that are like a month long, a week long, and I had friends that are just like bouncing between relationships, and then you have to start to think like, okay, I think something's going on with you, dude. Like, what's going on, bro? You wanna have a talk? Same thing with being a business owner. Like, if you have to keep on firing over and over again, business owner is probably the issue. You know what I mean? Yeah. So you have to start to. I help people do that introspection too. That's a great thing about working with me. Whenever people are having issues like this, I don't know what's going on. I have to keep on finding new VAs. Like, do VAs just not work? No, of course they work. Let's take a look at what you're doing. Let's take a look at your procedures. You said you wanted them to do this. How did you tell them to do that? Did you give them specific instructions? Did you write it down? Did you give them a deadline? if you're not setting parameters and giving specific instructions, it's gonna fall apart.
Yeah.
Oh, I told them to do this. They didn't get it done in 1 hour. Did you tell them to do it in 1 hour? No, I didn't. I thought they just would. No, they won't. You know what I mean? So the business owner has to take accountability as well for their employees not doing well. You know what I mean?
No, yeah, completely understand. Like without a good business owner in place, like you need a leader, and like that leader has to be able the one that can push the other employees in the team to push forward.
100%.
Without a leader, the business is just gonna destroy itself.
100%.
So when it comes to like, obviously, I'm kind of like the expert when it comes to hiring from Argentina, Latin America, but when it comes to the Philippines,
Yeah.
you are the guy. So tell me, if someone's like looking to hire a BA, what would be kind of like the system when they work with you?
Yeah, so if you work with us, I mean, we'll find you a VA in 7 days. We'll replace them for any reason within 90 days if you don't like them. And then over the course of 12 months, if anything happens to that VA, we'll also replace them. That's if we find you a VA. So you can either get a VA with us, we do great work, or you can, look at our course, kind of learn how to do it yourself, which is also cool. You can reach out to Go Hire Retire. We've been featured on Yahoo Finance, MarketWatch, Investors Observer, Morningstar. We've been featured on a bunch of platforms, and we do great work. We have lots of testimonials. So if you want to work with us, we'll either get you a VA in 7 days, or you can learn how to get a VA with us. Learn how to get a VA with our courses.
Okay, awesome, awesome. So like they can take courses to learn how to get a BA, but if they want to streamline the process, they'll have to do 80 interviews at a time. They just go directly to you.
Exactly, because it usually takes north of 20 interviews to find someone who's really good.
Yeah.
We get north of 100 applications for you. And if you need help with running ads or you need help with building out CRM, text, email automations, and kind of automating that process, we also help businesses with that.
And that's more like customized, kind of like
Customized, yeah, tailored to them. We also help them with scripting their ads. We also help them with editing their ads. So yeah, that's all baked into a package if you want to do that too.
All right, yeah. Perfect. And like one thing that I don't know if you guys are like business owners in the United States and you guys wanna go with a U.S. staffing company, it probably takes a month or 2 months for them to find you the right person. While with you it's only 7 days.
Exactly. Yeah, it's really fast. We do it really fast. We're super efficient too. We keep you in the loop and communicate with you throughout the whole process.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah. Okay, perfect. Well, another question I have for you, Joseph, is that are you gonna be staying in New York City? Is that kind of like the what you have in your mind to stay in New York for the next year? So are you trying to? I know you were telling me you might move down to Florida as well.
Yeah. There's a possibility we'll move over to Florida early next year to Orlando. Tax benefits, there's no state income tax, save a bunch of money there. And also there's a lot of entrepreneurs out there. I've noticed that like the entrepreneurs in New York City, it's kind of limited, you get a lot of like finance guys and like people that have regular jobs and stuff. So I don't relate as much to a lot of the people here. So I think going out there would be an opportunity to meet a lot more people that are similar to me, and that's kind of the thought for the next year.
Yeah, okay, but is there any specific reason why Orlando or?
I mean, we have a couple really good friends out there, and like go to Disney, make a couple ads. That's what I did.
Yeah.
I actually went to Disney like 2 weeks ago and filmed a whole bunch of ads.
Oh, really?
Yeah. But yeah, I mean, it's cool out there, cool homes and stuff. You're close to Tampa. You're not too far away from Miami if you want to go to events. So.
Yeah, well, I'm looking forward to seeing those ads in Disney. You hire a VA. I'm here at Disney.
Yeah. I can enjoy Disney here while I have VAs running my business.
Yeah. Okay, that's pretty cool. And one thing that I see that you have a great personal brand on Instagram. So what's kind of like your methodology when it comes to building your personal brand in Instagram or online overall? And then what's kind of like your tips for someone going viral?
So going viral is always a matter of having like a really strong hook and then like delivering on that hook, like whatever you hook them in for, deliver on that promise, and try to get your watch time up by making it really engaging. Cut out all the ums, the uhs, the pauses, anything that's not relevant, cut it out. And just know exactly what the purpose of the video is. Like what kind of value are you trying to provide, or what type of entertainment are you trying to provide, and really ramp that part of the video up. And obviously posting consistently is extremely important. If you're not posting consistently, it's not even just a matter of like, hey, the more you post, the more chances you have to go viral. But like the algorithm will literally hurt you. Whenever I don't post for like multiple months and I come back and post, those videos do terrible. Versus when I've been posting consistently, I'll slowly see like the increase in my views.
And what would you say is consistently, like 3 times a week, 4 times a week?
Yeah, at least
every
3
day?
times a week is good. Obviously, the more the merrier. There's no limit on how many times you could post. But obviously, the more that you post, the chances that there'll be crappier videos. It's better to
Okay.
post one video a week that gets 100K or a million versus 5 videos a week that each get 1,000 or each get 200 views,
Yeah.
right? It's better to spend a lot of time on coming up with an idea for one video. You know, they say one video can change your entire life.
That's
So
true.
you need to think in terms of that. One video could change your entire life. Put a lot of effort into the videos that you make because a lot of people like to run and gun. But if for every 10 videos you have, one does kind of decent, like TikTok, Instagram starts to learn that you're like a crap poster. They call it shit posting. And they'll start to kind of hurt you because of that, because you have more videos that do shittier, and then they start to not trust that you have good videos that people want to watch. So running and gunning is not the best strategy. It's better to do a little bit less, but put a little bit more time and effort into the videos so that there's a better chance that they do well. Yeah.
Interesting. And also, like, one thing is like the power of social media overall, because the reason we met was through a reel.
Yeah,
I think I
yeah.
posted, you commented, we saw that we're
Yeah,
in the same business.
I meet everybody that I meet that I like really enjoy and we relate a lot. I meet them online. Even Evan here. We met online,
Yeah. Yeah, so it is important to be on social media. Like right now, if you are now on social media, you're basically losing dozens, even millions of dollars that you can be making as a business owner.
Right.
But yeah, my last question would be, what does the future holds for you?
Future holds for me. I mean, straight thinker, man. Just scaling the business, focusing on having better quality of life. I think the biggest thing for me is getting to a point where I can relinquish myself of a lot of stuff I'm currently doing. Like I feel like the ads eventually I'll start giving off, the sales calls and stuff I'll start giving off to where I could finally start to enjoy, you know, the fruits of my labor and start to kind of just enjoy life. I feel like I've been cranking this out, like business in general, for like the last 5 years, and not really like fully enjoying life for what it's for, you know.
And would you ever like think of like exiting your business? Is that something
That's an idea. That's for sure an idea for the future. Yeah, it's something I'm definitely trying to build up. That's not my main goal, but that's something I'm definitely thinking about. Yeah.
Yeah.
How about you?
I just met like a staffing business owner that sold like their staffing. It was in the United States for like 28 million.
Wow.
And I had a call with them and like it just opened my eyes. I'm like, actually,
Wow.
you know, maybe I should work to sell this in the future. But yeah, it takes a lot of time and well, it also is different because our business is overseas as well. So I'm not sure if it's gonna fit within the same kind of like restrictions that they were looking for.
For
like,
sure.
Yeah.
Yeah, and I hear a lot of people when they sell their business, they get depressed.
That's true.
'Cause
That's
it's
true.
like
Yeah.
they're putting their blood, sweat, and tears, working at it for years, and then all of a sudden it's gone. You know.
And it's like something like I would say just like for me personally, maybe you feel the same, but for me like running a business is like having a purpose.
Yeah.
Because before I didn't have a purpose and I would be bored. You know.
Yeah.
Like I'm a very energized guy. You know.
Yeah.
Before I was a business owner, I was a professional rap battler.
Yeah.
I would do rap competitions and like. If it's not because of the business, my mind is just like I don't know what to do, you know.
Yeah.
So having that business there is like I have the purpose.
Yeah. You remember finishing like a video game when you're younger?
Yeah.
And you're just like sad and you're like, oh man. What I would probably consider more so is selling a piece of my business, not the whole thing. Like sell some equity so that I have, you know, a big chunk of change that came to me, and I still continue to operate it, because it's always important, especially for entrepreneurs like you and me, man, to have like a goal that we're working towards, and you know, something that we're trying to accomplish.
And any advice to like any potential, you know, youngster there looking to start a business or even a virtual assistant agency?
Yeah, I mean, I'd say try everything, dude. I started off in network marketing and it kind of opened my eyes, and it's not for everybody, and I don't think that you'll get rich off network marketing. Like I think it's like less than 0.5% of people that make a lot of money in network marketing, but it really opened up my mind to the possibility of you know, being an entrepreneur and building up your business and stuff, and the kind of mindset you need to have. So I'd say try everything under the sun and see what clicks.
And how can people find you? Like the best way for them to find you?
Yeah, it's Joseph Henry on TikTok. It's Joseph Henry on Instagram, and then also Joseph Henry on YouTube.
Perfect. And you guys will see here in the screen all the social medias and your contact info as well in the description. But okay, Joseph, it was a pleasure speaking with you, and
man.
it's always great having people in the same industry.
Yeah, 100%. Thank you, bro.
Thank you, man.